Shalom. Good morning, Yasha Allah. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Yasha Allah. My brethren, all in the diaspora. In the diaspora. First of all praises, all honor, all reverence to our Abba, Yahweh, in Bahasham, Mashiach, Yahushai, and Warawak. We give thanks for the privilege, the grand opportunity to be in your presence this afternoon, this morning, as we usually greet you with. And so we are about enwrapped with a pleasure to come and serve you. This offering, this sacrificial offering unto Hamashiach, our Malach. And today we give you a lesson that's titled Torah Hebrews Only. That's right, you heard it. Torah Hebrews Only. All in the diaspora, north, south, east, and west, 12 tribes, and the nations still. But Torah Hebrews only. And if you so choose that you would like to be a part of the congregation, then we welcome you. As we talk about Torah Hebrews only, I'm in a different kind of mode than I have usually been in. And maybe I will share with you why I'm in such a mood. It's a good mood to be in. But the first verse of our Torah Hebrew lesson is Bereshith 2 and 15. Bereshith 2 and 15. First verse for our Torah Hebrew lesson. And I think you know this verse already. Let's look for it, brothers and sisters. You people who tune in. Bereshith, that's Genesis 2 and 15. Pardon me. Genesis 3 and 15. pardon me, that is Genesis 3:15. That says, and I put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed. He shall crush your head, and you shall crush his heel. And I think I hear you already. But that's in Bereshit, that's in Genesis. That's not in Abraham. But it is in Abraham because the Mashiach is in the response. The Mashiach that our Torah brothers and maybe sisters as well, the one that they deny as they try to cross out the portion of Torah that's in the renewed covenant, that is locally called the New Testament. And so when you go into Hebrew or Hebrews, that contains, well, as a part of the writings of the renewed covenant, that the word of Yahweh speaks himself. Yes? The word that became flesh. And Yohanan 1 and 11, I believe it is. The word that became flesh is speaking here also. And well, let's put it down as Yahweh speaking in Bereshit, Genesis 3:15. And he said that he was going to put sharp disagreement between the serpent and the woman, between the serpent's seed and the woman's seed. And when we look at Hebrew 1, we see, well, let's look at it. Abram, or Ibram, let's call it Hebrews chapter 1. Need some prayers here, brother. It's a little rough that you have to hear me after I'm finished. Hebrews chapter 1 and verse 1. I think you know it already. It says, Elohim, having of old spoken in many portions and in many ways to the fathers by the prophets, in verse 2, has in these last days spoken to us by the Son. This is the minister of the renewed covenant, the Son, whom he has appointed heir of all things. Heir. He gave all to his Son. Torah Hebrews, through whom he made the ages, as it says in this scripture. In the King James, you have it, through whom also he made the worlds. All right? And so we're connecting for you the fact that the Elohim of the what they call Old Covenant, or as the Torah Hebrews would say, the Torah, because they were led to believe that they should leave out the renewed covenant as ministered by uh, the Son that is spoken of in Abram chapter 1, Hebrews chapter 1 speaks about the Son, whom the Father, Yahweh, made the heir, the owner, gave everything to the Son, through whom also he made the worlds or the ages. It is the Son, the word of his power. So we want to kind of minister to the Torah Hebrews to help them, because now we're fast approaching the Day of Atonement. We got trumpets, I believe, first, tabernacles, and then the Day of Atonement. And I trust that you remember the admonition on the Day of Atonement. All Hebrews, stay indoors and give your vote for the Mashiach or against the Mashiach. He's coming down to take your vote, brothers and sisters, even as he is scheduled to do the what do you call it, the 2,300-day prophetic ministry in carrying the case of Yasha'Allah before the Father. You know all that enslavement, brutality Yasha'Allah been through. It's got to go on record. The Father got it on record that he sent you out. It's written here in the Word that he sent you out for chastisement. And now you're coming back. He himself is setting up the courts in heaven for the record that you have been returned from your chastisement, Yasha'Allah, plus for the Day of Atonement, or rather the 1,000, what's it, the 2,300-day prophecy is about? That's what it's about. The cleansing sanctuary, it's about you going out on the Father's command. I don't know if I should say advice, but he sent you out. He sent Yasha Allah out of his presence for chastisement. And Esau surely gave you some chastisement along with your brother Levi. Those two, they gave you a chastisement that we would say it's out of this world. And in the end of it, the Most High Yahweh, coming to fix the record, sending the Mashiach to fix the record. Let it be recorded in the annals or the history of heaven of what he did with his people, his children, and how they fared in that trial, and what was the manner of response the heathen gave them. It's got to be recorded, Yasha'Allah. The worst tragedy in the history of the earth happened to you, Yasha'Allah, and the Father got it all on record. And he's sending the Mashiach to see about you and to get your response in respect of your view of how you feel about him now, since he has sent you out for chastisement by the most cruel master, slave master, slave, master. So Mashiach is coming down to fix the record, Yasha Allah. So let's be prepared for his coming. And on that day of atonement, everybody stay home. Yasha Allah, stay home. That's what is required of you. Stay out of all harm's way, all arguments or whatever have you. Deal with the Mashiach himself. Wait for him as he goes through the transaction of presenting your case before the Father and confessing all all that was done to you, confessing over the head of the scapegoat. It's an awesome time in history, Yasha Allah. So, as your brother, I invite you in your home, out of all harm's way, as much as in you lie, and in me, you be out of all harm's way while you're giving attention to the Most High and to his Mashiach in the presence of his Rawak. And I guess we could say the set apart Malachims, I think everybody will be looking on to see, to behold this tribunal in the presence of the Mashiach with you, the chosen of the earth. This is about you, Yasha Allah. Unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And you know, if you didn't know, I'll help you to know that such is the reason why we have it in what's in Daniel chapter what's it what's it maybe it's 8, 9, 10 Daniel, but it talks, it's a verse that talks about Esau attempting or going about to change times and laws. And when we think about the enslavement of Yasha Allah under the cruel taskmasters, when you also think about this discrepancy we have in the nation between or about the discrepancy about Torah Hebrews and Hebrews that embrace the entire manual of the scriptures, Old and Renewed Covenant. When we check it out from the angle or the presentation of the scriptures in the Hebrew language, I shared it with you before, we see the name of Abba with the evidence of the crucifixion in his name. Now you know that's a genuine reason for Satan and Esau to exclude his name, the Most High's name, out of the writings that they turned around and handed to us after hiding our books. Hide the name of the Most High and the fact that he, Yahweh, is our salvation. and he's got the work of his right hand, the Mashiach, in there in his name as the crucified one, right there in the Hebrew. So that's a good reason to think, to change times and laws. For instance, the Shabbat. That's a part of the actual times and laws. But the changing of the name is not necessarily of times and laws, but it is of utmost importance because it has the signature, the very signature of the Most High Yah in the Torah. So, of course, the evil one who got his name put in the scripture as God had to get rid of that. Oh yeah, that was, that was all deserting, and what else would you like? It was in that transaction to get rid of the name of the Most High. Then you had the Catholic, Esau Catholics, working on the Shabbat, getting rid of the Shabbat. And I might also add, they were diligent in striving to hide the 2300 days prophecy that Ellen White and her Adventists tried to co-opt 120 odd years ago, something like that. They tried to co-opt it and had this big showboat of of their 2300 day, what should I say, a crucible. They had their big to do with their understanding of this 2300 day prophecy, and finally came to the conclusion that they were embarrassed trying to co-opt our history, our place, and our service unto the Most High Yah. So the Most High, I don't know, I guess he just shook his head and let them go on with their embarrassment that to date they had no answer for. And now, I'm sure they have heard us already, to their dismay and to their shame. We only hope that our people, my people, who are in there, in the Adventist, like I was, in my late teens when I got baptized there. Yeah, I was there and drinking it up, but I kept my eyes open. Father allowed me to keep my eyes open and keep on questioning till I began to proclaim Yasha'Allah as my pedigree. They didn't want anything to do with me then. So I had to drop on to then. I understood what was going on. You see? And yeah, now we come to the time, the season of the 2300 day prophecy that Satan is trying to get them to co-opt. And so he could hide it. Do you think he wants to be shown up in the heavenly courts as the scapegoat that will bear the penalty for all that tragedy that he handed to Yasha'Allah in slavery? You think he would have wanted to hide that? Indeed so. If he could make the Hebrews rebel against the Most High such that they would lose track of the day of atonement in the 2300 day prophecy. If he could get that on the side, oh man, what a day of rejoicing that would be. To make you forget, as it were, the most important day in your history, that the Mashiach would come to take stock of your whereabouts and your condition and bring, what word would I want? Restoration is a good word, of course, And I think reparation is part of that good word. Come and get your reparation for you. Because he's already gone on record saying he ain't gonna give it to you. And if you get some idea of who Esau is, you know he's dead serious about that. That's what he intends to do. So I mean, how you Torah or Hebrews going to fix that? How you going to fix that, brothers and sisters? You can't. You ain't got no answer. Don't even try to make me believe you got some semblance of an answer. You ain't got none. The Mashiach is the most high answer because we are messianic. Hebrews. Yeah, that's who we be. It is the Mashiach, the right hand of Yah that saves, the right hand of his power, the Mashiach, the sin bearer, the one who forgives it, and who says in the renewed covenant, I think the book of Yochanan, that all that come to me, I will not in any wise cast out, but I will raise it up at the last day. And you get a sampling of that Torah brothers and Hebrew. I mean Torah brothers and sisters. This is the word of the Most High Yah coming through the word of his power. At the last day, I will raise it up. Whatever you give me, Father, at the last day, I will raise it up. Where else do you have that Torah Hebrews? Where where else could you find that? I mean, it's actually written all through what we call the Old Covenant, the Old Testament. Mashiach is all over it. He's all through it. But for the sake of those of us who have a better understanding, we're so I don't know, extreme or extremely is a good word to put in there. But we are on sound footing to receive this word that at the last day, the Mashiach says, I will raise up. And it gives us all the word of comfort, more than all the word of comfort, to know that our Messiah, the Messianic King, the Malach, has left it on record that the last day, he'd raise it up. He'd raise us up and bring us back. That's so beautiful. So yeah, the 2300-day prophecy is a prime target for Satan to hide, to try to change the rendering of the prophecy. Make it seem like what we're talking about is, something else or has another time element to it. We'd like to throw you off so that you don't pay attention to it. The most important thing to you in your life, the Father's care towards you, that he has his Mashiach, the word of his power, setting a day aside for heaven to be checking, surveying your situation, and to see you right. Those people use the word righted, to see you righted. When Esau has sworn by his devil that ain't nothing good coming up for you. But our Mashiach, Torah brothers and sisters, has guaranteed it. That he can raise it up. Yeah. And he can raise up your reparations too. Bless his name. Bless his power and authority. All right. So I think you got that. I think you got that Torah, brothers and sisters. You ain't got no more reference like what I shared with you. That the Mashiach says, at the last day, he'll raise it up. And in your situation now, where you, Torah brothers and sisters, need reparations, what you gonna do about it? What you had in mind? Oh, would you like to tell us what you had to do about it? How you plan to get through with it? I know you don't have any plan. I really know it. But don't hurt all too much to hear you give us some kind of hint. You ain't got no, you ain't got no idea, brothers and sisters. You ain't got no way. You ain't got no way out. But the Most High, the same one you talk about, Yahweh, he got the way out through his Mashiach. Receive it. So, the fact that the Father himself, as I was saying, preach the first word concerning faith, when he said to Adam or to his wife and the serpent, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your seed and her seed. It's going to bruise your head while it bruises heel. The war declaration was on from then. And we shared with you how the Father of Yahweh, set it in motion. And we have in Abram 11, so the 11 and 13, let's see. I think it's Abram 11 and 13, we shouldn't be too long. That it says, let's read it in the King James. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. You got that, brothers, brother Torah, and sister Torah, Hebrew. We're looking at, in the light of the declaration in Bereshith, Genesis 2, or 3 and 15, where Abba Yah declares himself, I'm going to put a situation between you, the serpent, and the woman, and you ain't going to get along as you've been thinking. You tricked the woman, and then you think you're going to full steam ahead and have some cake and ice cream. It ain't going to be so. I'm putting the spokes in your wheel right now. And we have further here now in Abram, almost to the end of our scriptures, what we have, what Esau chopped off, gave to us, what we have sufficiently, as it were, that we see a connection with Bereshit 3 and 15 and Abram 11 and 13, because when Abba Yah gave the declaration of what he was going to do, it took faith for Adam and his wife to receive it. Wasn't anywhere in sight. Brothers and sisters, Torah, Hebrews, when Yahweh spoke that, the part that belonged to sight, I mean, seeing the fulfillment of what Yahweh had said was far away. They had to receive it by faith. And this is why I said this was the first chapter in in Abraham, in Hebrews, that was given to Adam, because it was by faith. They had to receive it. You see? And then continuing on in faith, we come to this whole book on faith, as it is principally concerned with the life, the function, and the purpose and work of the Mashiach, the Messianic Messiah. He was born into a Messianic community. That's the 12 tribes. As we shared with you, right from the book of Genesis, when the birthright was handed out, it was given as a Messianic declaration to whom it was given, and therefore the the financial part of the birthright that Esau tried to co-op, maybe he tried to get that part of it, but he wasn't concerned with the Messianic part of it. He tried to break the birthright principles. He tried to break there was these two parts of it. The Messianic, or the priestly functioning part of it, that had the material blessing to support the priestly ministry, the Messianic community. It's a better way to put it. I think you could understand that concept better. That's how the birthright was set up. For a priestly and a community of faith went together. He's going to try to break it in half. And Abba said, no, you can't have that. And so that was it. And from there, Esau let all hell break loose against the Most High and against that Messianic community that was to be a community of 12 tribes. And as you see in the book of Revelation, these tribes are in the holy, the set apart city. I mean, Yasha'Allah is all over the set apart city, because they are a Messianic community. This is what the Mashiach, let me back up. This is what Abba Yahweh sent the Mashiach out to accomplish, to establish a Messianic community that was, or would be, that had to be the community of the saved that were rescued by his blood, by his sacrificial offering, and hence, being that Messianic community, they became a part of the proposition in Daniel, I think it's chapter 8, if I'm not mistaken, where a stone was cut out of the mountain without hands and destroyed the image in Daniel. The stone was actually Mashiach, but a part of the Mashiach was his community of faith, the Messianic community. Yasha'Allah destroyed that image. You see? Esau didn't understand that at the beginning. That's why he refused the birthright. Well, I am led to believe and to see that Esau rejected the priestly occupation of the birthright. Didn't want anything to do with that. He wants some quick cash. And he didn't realize, didn't have time to think about it, that this quick cash he was trying to get was a part of the Messianic ministry and the community. Hey, it's a simple thing when you think about it. Torah, brothers and sisters, I believe you're beginning to get the hint of it, I believe you're beginning to get it. And you need to, because time is moving fast or fastly, and we have serious matters to consider and to grow, cope with. We have serious matters for consideration and to exercise our decision upon. You got to make a decision for the Mashiach or a decision against the Mashiach. It stands at the moment that it is a known fact in the whole wide the whole wide world, in the slave community of the earth, that Torah people have no need, or this is the way they express it, that they don't believe in the renewed covenant, or what we call the New Testament, and hence they don't believe in the Mashiach. As your brother, if you would have me as such, I'm here to tell you, there ain't nothing doing without the Mashiach. The Most High Yah had to send his man. That's why in Hebrew 1:1, it lets you know that this great Most High that we serve, first of all, he sent at various times. It all added up to many times. In Hebrew 1:1, spoke many times and in many ways to the early forefathers, beginning with Adam, as I showed you. And he spoke in other ways, in other words, when you continue to read through the Old Covenant, you have, the other books, Exodus, Deuteronomy, and so forth, and all these books. As you go through them, you will see where the Most High began to raise up prophets. So this first verse in Hebrews ain't wrong, because the Most High raised up prophets and prophetess to speak Yasha Allah as they were on the way from Mitzrayim, looking for the promised land. He had to raise up prophets because they began doubting, like you Torah brothers were tending to doubt and not accept the offering or the solution to your problem, to our problem, which is the Mashiach, the shedding of his blood to wash away our sins and our guilt. Yasha had a problem in the wilderness with the leading, with the Father leading, and the Father was leading by when you go into these writings of the early books, Bereshit, Exodus, Vayikra, the different ones, there's an entry called in the bastard Hebrew, the angel of Yah, or the angel of God, as it would say in the regular bastard English, the angel of Yah. This was the Mashiach. In his pre-birth um, presentation, and the Father sent him. When you read through the Exodus and the other books, the Father sent the angel of Yah, the Malakim of Yah. That was the Word before it came into the flesh to guide Yasha away from Egypt, from Israel, and all the way to the Promised Land. When they had battles to fight, you would see that the angel of Yah, the Word of Yah, moved from the back of them and took the front stage to deal with the enemies and the battles. I'm helping you, brother, Torah brothers and sisters, because this is in your Torah that you have, the Old Covenant. These things I'm trying to tell you are right there. Maybe you saw them and didn't take notice of it, but the Mashiach was right there, fighting in the battle of Yasha Allah of Israel. And finally, so Shaul, the apostle, and well, in fact, Shaul and all the apostles in the time of, well, in their times, they were being taught directly by the Mashiach. And then, of course, the Mashiach did his ministry and left. And they became the community of faith that causes, or has been the cause of you and I being taught about the Most High on the basis of their testimony. That along with the presentation of the Mashiach, the work he did himself in the community of faith with the apostles and the other brethren of faith, that became the basis for the New Testament scriptures. That the Mashiach, Yah's word, the same one you see in the Old Covenant as in the bastard Hebrew and in the bastard English, the angel of, they put in the angel of God and God is Satan, but that's how it works. But in the Malakim of Yah, in the Hebrew, the Malakim of Yah was the word that came in the flesh in Yochanan 1:11. Try to help you brothers, Hebrew brothers, you Torah brothers and sisters. And so, but by the time of Shaul the apostle, the Mashiach had already done his work and gone. And other apostles who were actually walking with the Mashiach as he was here and were witnesses, like you find in the book of Yochanan, I think first or second Yochanan, one of them says that we were eyewitnesses of his glory. We are eyewitnesses of his esteem. We know what we're talking about. That which we have seen from the beginning, we declare unto you. That's what our brother Yochanan tells us. What we saw with our own eyes and felt with our own hands, that we declare to you, the word of life, the Mashiach. You got to read it, brothers. Torah and sister Torah, Yasharites. Read it. The brothers tell you, in the book of Yochanan, that which we have seen and handled with our hands of the word of life. They're discussing the Mashiach. And the book of Hebrews is a book that really goes in depthly into the Mashiach. Totally. This whole book, specifically with the messianic work of the Mashiach. So, in Paul's time, Shaul's time, as I was telling you, they were already in They were already in the land of Canaan. They were in the homeland. That's the land that was promised to Abraham, right? But you find the Apostle Saul, careful. In fact, all of them, they kept talking about this land, this place to come, this city to come. They were already in the promised land, but they kept looking for a city that has foundation. The Messianic kingdom that the Father is bringing on the request of the Mashiach, that where he would be, or where he is, there his Messianic community, people, would be with him. You got to see this, brothers and sisters, Torah Hebrews. You got to see this, how complete is our Mashiach in his thought, in his action and care toward his community, to us who now receive him by faith. But in the apostles' days, in Shaul and those brothers, they saw him. They handled him. They're telling you in plain language in the word, that which we have seen of the word of life, that's what we are declaring unto you. Can you doubt that, brothers and sisters Hebrew? So while in Shaul's day, in the book of, in Yohanan and the other brothers, Rome, Esau was already in the land occupying it. They had already ousted the priestly caste. What do you call them? Simon and his brothers and them, they call them. They were the priests anyway. And all their efforts to set up a king, priest, dynasty failed. Romans got rid of them. But they were already trying in that day to best the Mashiach. They were trying to get rid of him then. Maccabees. They were trying to get rid of the Mashiach then. And behold what we have today. We have their brethren, the children that we call the Haitians, coming now, today, as I'm speaking with you. They're in the Bahamas talking about they wanted to restore law and order. Law and order means return back to slavery. That's the meaning of law and order today. Return back to slavery. These Levites think that they're smart. Man, to think that they believe that they could outsmart the Most High, our Mashiach. That's what they think. It's a sad case. It's a sad affair that they would think that way, but that's the way they think. And the scriptures already describe them moving toward that goal a long time ago. So when they saw in Psalm 110, the priests after the order of Melchizedek, they knew they were in trouble on that account. Now, the Most High didn't want to put them in trouble. He only wanted them to recognize the work that he had to do to secure his creation and to secure the community of faith, the Messianic community. But they wasn't for that. They want their own selfish way. As we see with Levi today. Here in the Bahamas, the Levites are running it. I got to tell you, if I don't know who will. I mean, I don't have to be the only one, but that's the way it is. I'm here, and I'm letting you know. It's the Levites who are doing the lockdowns in the Bahamas to set themselves up, with the attempt to set themselves up in the place of the Mashiach. That's what we got going on. So we are right in the heart of it, brethren. you brothers all in the diaspora in the US, as we showed you already, Levi took the gravy train with Esau in the revolution for the independence. That's when they took the break to set up their order of things in opposition to the Most High, as they had already seen their brothers do in the Maccabees world. That's the model that they were going after. So here we are. Nevertheless, the Mashiach did his sacrifice under the eagle eyes of the Romans, who were only too happy, too glad to have him crucified under their watch. And you know, I tried to dramatize it for you some time ago when they had him crucified and they set the watch. Pilate gave the order to set a watch. Man, you know, what kind of glue they used, what kind of material they used. They were making sure that tomb stays sealed. Nothing to get it open. You think they were playing with that? They used their best material to keep that shut. But out comes the Messiah. All power is given unto me in heaven and on earth. They couldn't take it. They fainted all over the place. It's in the scriptures. For fear of him, the keepers became as dead men. It's written in the scriptures. Yet after that, after the Mashiach went, they had the nerve, they had the stinking nerve to turn around and set up some other thing. That's what they brought out to the slaves when, you know, after they destroyed the land, the temple and everything, then they got a hold of the slaves. They brought out shriveled up chicken, what they call Caesar Borgia. Shrivel up chicken and say, this is what you're going to worship now. And we got the records, or what is given as of the record, that they killed Yasha Allah to worship this thing that they gave. And we I don't know exactly how, I don't remember knowing exactly how it comes that we turn around and switch the information around to say that this was Jesus as a representation of the Messiah they gave us. That's not my understanding of what happened. My understanding is that they gave us this representation, and they called it Jesus, and gave force, made it a lawful thing in their rule that we should worship it, and that's what we wound up doing, worshiping a stinking piece of white death, a COVID-19 case. We've been worshiping, huh? And so, but we find the apostles, all of them, all the way back from our father Abraham, they were looking for a city that had foundation, whose builder and maker was Yah. And Yah gave the responsibility to the right hand of his power, the Mashiach, whom we love in Yasha Allah. We love him. Torah brothers and sisters, we love our Mashiach. What does the scripture say? And I think it's in Romans, somewhere near there. What think you of Mashiach? He's the power of Allah unto salvation. That's who he is. That's who we know him as. And we will forever know him as that, as the power unto salvation. And he's coming down in atonement to get from you, Yasha Allah, from you, Torah Hebrews 2, who don't care anything about it, well, you got to vote too. Because if you keep in the mindset that you're showing up now and you don't change it, then you will be voting no against him. I am not here to say exactly how he will treat you, but I know he's particularly concerned about his children who worship Yah, Yahweh, the Most High, and receive the word of the Most High as their king, Mashiach. He's coming to get reparations straight to his children. It's not for me to say, you know, conclusively how he will respond to you. That's not my position. I'm only encouraging you as your brother to get your business straight and get with the power, the resurrection and the life. Can you negotiate that power? We invite you, brothers. Wake up, shake up, shake up. Get yourself before you go overboard. It'd be worse for you than it was for Jonah. Um, so we say then that Shaul and his day, the other apostle, they knew that Jerusalem was going to be destroyed because it was already in the prophecy that the Romans would destroy the place, and they were looking ahead to a city that had foundation. And they saw it possible in the Mashiach. That's what you and I have to do, Torah brothers and sisters. Looking unto the Mashiach, the author and finisher of our faith. May the Most High bless you, keep you, is my prayer. In the name of our Mashiach. So let it be.